Well, hey folks, welcome to today's Transplant Helper Quick Tip. Today's quick tip has to do with getting the call and social media. Now, when I say that, I want you to understand, and some of you as post-transplant patients already do, but pre-transplant patients especially need to understand that getting the call does not equal getting a transplant. I'm going to have an entire program about getting the call a little bit later, a full-length program, maybe 10, 12 minutes having to do with that. But for now, just understand getting the call does not equal getting a transplant. There are all kind of situations that can come up that might have you to be called into your transplant center, where you go to the hospital and there you are with much apprehensiveness and anxiety, whatever goes along with that, thrill, happiness, I don't know, all of that balled into one. And then to find out at some point a little bit later on in the day or the night that it's not going to be your organ, you're not going to get the transplant. So if we jump to so many conclusions and then we get straight on to social media and say, I'm getting my transplant, I'm so excited, I'm headed toward the hospital, or I'm here and I just signed the papers, that may come up being a grave disappointment for us later when we go back on social media and have to undo that or have to try to correct that information. Now, it's not always you who does that. Many times it's not you making the post yourself as the transplant potential recipient. It's your family, it's your friends, it's those outside of that box that oftentimes do that. And again, they take misinformation. I can remember on the first time when I had what we as transplant patients call that dry run or that false alarm or whatever it is, that practice run. I got called for transplant. I was already in the hospital, but I got called for transplant, and they said I had a potential match and all. And I can remember myself, my family, my friends, everyone getting so excited. And of course, we did that thing. We put on social media, Jim's might get a transplant today. And I can remember never getting the transplant, but while I was waiting in my room to hear word on whether I would get it or not, reading on Facebook about how I was in surgery and I was doing great, and maybe eventually somebody finally posted, Jim had his transplant and he's doing awesome. Well, the truth is I'd never even got an official complete word that it was my organ to begin with, that it was my heart to begin with. And so I had to go back and try to undo some of that. And that didn't come out of my account, didn't come out of my wife's account. It came from others who took a little snippet of information, not understanding, and just assumed that getting the call meant getting the transplant. And so be cautious. Now, I'll give you two pieces of advice. You can take it or leave it. Either you can make the choice to not post on social media about your potential transplant until you're absolutely sure that you're on your way to surgery and this is it. Or if you choose to post, and I understand most of us, we want those prayers, we covet the prayers, we want the thoughts of others, post something on Facebook or Twitter, whatever your choice is, post something like this. I received the call for transplant. I'll let you know when I know more. Let them know that this may not be the time. I've just been called in. This may not be the official transplant call, but I'll let you know more later. And that's good, because even if things go running here and there with other people's posts, at least if you've done it yourself to begin with, if you have those accounts, people can refer back to, and it's what I always do. When I see someone who it's on Facebook that they're on their way to transplant or getting a transplant, I go back to their account and see what they're posting. But at least someone can trace it back to your account and see what you're saying about the situation, to see what your thoughts are and get an idea as to what's really going on. Now, again, this is only to save you heartache and headache later to trying to undo misinformation. It's all your choice. But my advice, if you receive the call, don't go straight to social media, at least with just the generic, I'm getting transplanted or anything like that. Be sure that your information is accurate and that it carries the right idea and thought with it, so that other people can also have accurate information. This has been another Transplant Helper quick tip. If these things have helped you, how about like, subscribe, and share this channel? I'd love for you to do that. And until next time, stay stronger, friends.